I'm here interviewing Charles Nimitz. He is a graphic design artist and illustrator of children's books and all kinds of books. He does cover art for books, posters for books, and he uses math in everything that he does in publishing. So I'm going to ask Charlie, how do you use math in publishing and in art?
Well, in the early days, there was a lot of math before I started working in graphic arts before computers. So, and I'm not very math proficient, so in a lot of the art directors I worked under would use a lot of math to lay out their boards. You'd have a drawing table with an illustration board, and you had to figure out first where everything was going to go, where the words were going to go, where the pictures were going to go, how big and how small things were, how they were going to cut, what shape they were going to be. And a lot of people I worked with could do that mathematically. I had to tear pieces of paper. I had to estimate and tear pieces of paper and work backwards from a formula. So you can almost say that that is math in a sense that it's, what would you say, three-dimensional math? You know,
Spatial math.
Yeah, spatial math. So instead of using numbers and algebraic equations, I was using pieces of paper. This piece of paper equals A. And it was difficult for me because I had to start to relearn some of the things that I did in high school. I had to reassociate myself with that. And then later on, thank God, computers came by, and computers did a lot for you, but there's still a lot that they don't do. Because you always have to keep things in the back of your head, like you'll have a shape and a size of maybe a book cover that you're doing, but there are things that you have to account for. You have to account for you have to account for the physical world. You have to account for a printing press, because there will be formulas for the thickness of the spine. Depending on how many pages the book has, and what kind of paper you're using, and what kind of cover stock you're using, there'll be a formula to determine how thick this has to be in order for all the pages to fit together, for the book to come together. That's actually not what I wanted to say. Let's see here. In order for the, a proper binding of the book. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, you plug your numbers in, how many pages, the thickness of the paper, and the size of the book. You plug all those numbers in the formula just to get how thick this is. And then always, you still get a phone call from the printer that says, "Oh, you didn't quite get it enough. Add another millimeter or two on the sides." And because you've also got to mathematically account for the fold, and the thicker the book, the stranger the fold is. I can't quite figure out why that is, but I think it has something to do with how thick the paper is when they go to cut it, and how it shifts while it's being cut. So that's one avenue where math still fits into the picture. You don't have to tear pieces of paper for it. You don't need an algebraic equation. You don't have to make up your own algebraic equation. They send it to you, which is nice. But then again, they still call and say it's not quite right, which is sort of confusing. That's sort of the part I don't quite understand. But like I said, not very math proficient. One of the hardest math things for me to do with a book is a printer's signature. And a signature isn't what you'd think, like signing a document. A signature is a single sheet of printer paper, which is really massive. The pages are laid out on the sheet, I think somewhere between 8 to 16 to a sheet, which means if it's an 8 sheet, I believe it's 16 pages, because you've got the front, one side of the sheet has pages, and then the back of their pages on the back of the printer sheet. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then, so you have to account for how many pages. And I think, this is where my lack of math proficiency always makes me exasperated. I think your book always has to be divisible. The pages have to be divisible by 4. Because if you run one page over the signature, you have, 7 blank pages left at the signature, which means you have 14 blank pages. And now here's the hard part. The 14 blank pages aren't at the end of the book. The 14 blank pages can, end up in different parts of the book, because when you do a signature, if you've got, this is the, what is this, the inside okay, page 1, let's just say this is page 1. Page 1 backs against page 2. But on a signature, the way it's printed, depending on how it's built, the back, the front side next to page 2 is the back page. Oh, see, this is already making me mad. This is starting to, I'm starting to get the jitters, you know. And then what you have here is then the part that butts against the page number 2, so to speak, is this page. And as you can see, there are blank pages on here, which means we didn't quite make the signature. Let's see how many we are. Oh dear, we've got a lot of those. Okay, we don't want to do that. Yeah, so there's not a lot. Once in a while you'll come across a book and there'll be blank pages, and those blank pages is because the graphic artist failed to fill the signature or cut back enough pages to not venture into a new sheet of printer paper. And if that's confusing, I don't blame you for being confused, because I've been doing this for a long time with books and magazines and brochures and annual reports, and every time I get a phone call from the printer saying, hey, these pages need to be divisible by 4. It's like, I thought they were. How many pages do we have? 63 and a half. Well, that's divisible by 4, isn't it? Can't we have a couple half sheets of paper? Can it work like that? I don't know. But so those are a couple of ways that math fits into what I do.